Good, good. How are you?
Good. Yeah,
So,
finally on the winning track again.
yeah, yeah. It was a good win. Good to see Austin Eckler back into form. Um, I know you were saying that his mom sits next to you or the next row
Yeah.
where you sit. So what was the reaction like? I know they showed it on TV once, but what was the reaction like throughout the game?
Uh, As usual, every good play he has, she's just yelling and cheering and jumping up and down. So much excitement. It's fun to see. Yeah, every time I just look over, and just to look at and see. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean it was a good win. It was a good win. I think You know, I didn't realize the Bears were that bad, to be honest. Like it was the defense was pretty bad. I've heard of that defender. I think his name is Stevenson, number 29, the
Mhm.
cornerback. He's been pretty bad this year. He's a rookie, but he's been picked on every game. And it was good to see Quentin Johnston finally, see targets. And there was a play where Herbert went to Simi Fehoko for the touchdown, and fans were upset that he didn't go to Johnston because he had a wide open lane to the end zone.
Yeah,
But I mean, it was a good game. I think for once, we didn't have it wasn't a nail biter, right?
yeah,
Um, but it was a bad team. So I think this next Monday night game is going to be the real challenge here against the Jets and that defense. Likely we'll see Sauce Gardner on Keenan Allen, so that should open up more targets for Johnston and Palmer. But man, I mean, um, Herbert came out firing,
yeah.
15 for 15. And I think before the game began, his completion percentage, like the over under, was 75.4. And I was like, wow, that's high. But
Yeah.
now I see why. This defense can't, they're horrible. And, he took advantage of it. That's what matters. He took advantage of it. So I wanted to see, Easton Stick in later in the game and not Herbert for him not to get injured or anything or worsen that finger. But he played throughout the game and played very well. So offensively, they did very well. I think defensively, they woke up. Bosa played well. Maybe that's the second time we've said that this whole year. Um, Thule, he's going to stay consistent. He'll, throw in a couple sacks here and there, but he's going to stay consistent. Mac played better, I think, this game. And then, like I was saying last week, Asante Samuel Jr. stepped up. Alohi Gilman. I think, I want to see now with Alohi Gilman back against an offense like, let's say, the Detroit Lions and see how Gilman plays. Because when Gilman's on the field, it seems this defense plays better. And then Joshua Taylor, I believe, played well. So yeah, all around the defense played well. Derwin got an interception, so that was good to see. And the run game didn't really, turn into anything for the Bears for the most part. So good game all around. Good game.
Yeah, you can't ask for much more. I mean, we've been waiting for a complete game like this for a while, and just as a fan to be at SoFi, it was just a nice feeling not to be on the edge of your seat, at the very end of the game, wondering if we're going to win or lose. It was a good energy in the crowd. Yeah, but and like you said, we stopped their run game. They've been a very good run team. So this has been something we've been doing all year. We've been stopping the run, doing a really good job against that. And we early on we did allow one long pass, but we did a good job in the passing game as well.
Yeah.
With the picks you mentioned too, and yeah, the offense was really rolling in that first half. We slowed down the second half, but we didn't really need any more points. We were up big. Just need to get stops and get the couple field goals that we got. But yeah, this Jets team is going to be a tough test. Great defense. Brees Hall. He, but the good thing is we don't have to worry about Aaron Rodgers. uh, but yeah, it'll be a good test on Monday Night Football. We'll see if we can get back to 500, 4-4, and with that that stunning Chiefs loss to the Broncos, and we're still in it for the division. You
Yeah.
know, they have a tough schedule coming up, so let's see what happens. Let's get Johnston even more involved. Those little like shallow crosses,
Hmm.
he's so good yards after the catch. Just get him the ball. So it was great to see him finally get the ball, 5 catches for 50 yards. Not lighting the world on fire, but it's a start. It's the start we needed to see.
Exactly. This is like his first kind of breakout game. Kind of first game, I would say, where he saw a normal amount of targets, right? He had 6 targets. So this is kind of his first game, I would say. So 50 yards, 5 catches, that's decent.
Yeah,
Um, if we see a replication of that against the Jets, even better. It's going to be tougher, obviously, because of the cornerbacks that they have. Um, but yeah, like you said, Chiefs lost, which was very surprising, and now they go to Germany to play the Dolphins. Then next week they play the Eagles, so they have a tough road ahead of them, and the Chargers have to focus on winning. You know, the Chiefs have a potential of going 3 games in a row loss. Do I think it'll happen? Probably not, but there is a potential that it can. Of course, depending on the referees as well. The Broncos are up ahead by about, I think, 2 possessions, so refs couldn't really interfere there. But I mean, when I say that, people go, "Oh, because you're a Chargers fan." But no, like the rest of the league believes that too. The
yeah,
rest of the fans believe that. So it was good to see them lose. I'll be honest, it was good to see them lose because the Broncos too. They haven't beaten the Chiefs in Denver in a long time.
yeah.
Um,
Mahomes was about to. If he would have won that game, he would have broken the record
so
for most wins against the team. Yeah,
there you go.
in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean they have tough games. I don't think they beat the Eagles. I really don't. I think AJ Brown is just going ballistic right now. They won't beat the Eagles. I don't know. I don't know if they'll beat the Dolphins. It depends on Travis Kelsey, in my opinion. If Kelsey has one of those huge games, then yeah, I think they win. But if the Dolphins contain Kelsey, aside from Rashi Rice, again, he has nobody to throw to, Mahomes.
yeah,
So, and they didn't make any moves in the trade deadline. Chargers didn't either, which was kind of weird, and we'll discuss that later. But we'll see what happens. I don't think the Dolphins will go down without a fight. And Tyreek Hill, that's his former team. He's going to want to show out. So hopefully the Dolphins pull it off. You got the Bills and Bengals Sunday night as well. So these are some huge games this week. And the Chargers Jets too. I mean, Chargers are 3-4, Jets are 4-3. That could be a huge difference in
yeah,
the playoff picture if we win. I actually had this game circled to go to before Rodgers got injured. Like I
yeah.
want to see Rodgers against Herbert primetime. And good thing I didn't get the tickets because I don't want to go watch Zach Wilson. But I think Zach Wilson, he needs to be pressured. Bosa, Mack, Tooley, these guys have to get to Wilson. Get to him. First, I think the offense needs to open up a lead. The reason being is because if they don't, and if it's like a, one possession game or, if the Jets are within 10 points, let's say, they're going to rely on Brees Hall. And that is not a good thing if you're the Chargers defense. You don't want to see Brees Hall. Dalvin Cook, he's kind of like just there. He's not really involved in the offense. So Brees Hall is the guy to watch out for, like you said. And I think that's the one key to this game. Just stop Brees Hall defensively. And then, Garrett Wilson, I don't think will get involved much because, again, Zach Wilson isn't the greatest quarterback, and he's going to rely more on running the ball himself than throwing it. And if he throws, even better. Um,
Yeah.
but I think Michael Davis will have his work cut out for him regardless with Garrett Wilson, as the wide receiver one on the other team.
Yeah, we don't want a repeat of the Tannehill debacle here, where
Yeah,
where Garrett Wilson goes wild because
right.
he throws some up and Wilson just goes up and catches it.
Yeah,
We still have
yeah.
to be careful of that. But another concern I have is our own running game. I know Ekeler broke out, but that was in the passing game.
Hmm.
You know, uh, we haven't gotten anything on the ground since really week 1 against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
You know, aside from a few big runs here and there. Yeah. So, is that the O line struggling? You know, uh,
I think it's a combination of things. The
yeah,
O-line definitely is a problem. Now, against the Bears, they played well. Even Trey Pipkins played well.
yeah,
But in general, they have struggled. And this is going to be a test again for the O-line. Quentin Williams, he's very good. Um, Depending on where he lines up, if it's, against on the opposite side of Rashawn Slater, then we might have a problem. But um, yeah, that's why I was saying I think it'll be smart to re-sign Eckler and then draft a running back like Audric Estime from Notre Dame to have that big body presence because he's a workhorse, and I think Chargers have been missing that for years.
yeah,
Ryan Matthews kind of was that, but we haven't had that for years. And
yeah,
I feel like the Sproles Tomlinson duo
mm,
can be recreated with Eckler and somebody, right? And we don't know who that somebody is yet, but I think if you draft, let's say, an Audric Estime, he's not going to be LT, but he's going to be a workhorse at the very least.
yeah.
So I think that would be a smart decision for the Chargers.
Yeah, I think we had that a little bit with Gordon in his prime and Eckler, but yeah, everybody Charger fans don't want to hear about Gordon right now after the way that ended,
Yeah.
and how his career has gone since then. Yeah, but yeah, we definitely need a big-bodied running back who we can trust at the goal line. I know Eckler's been great at punching it in, but he's not really the typical goal line back.
Right. Like we need
Yeah,
like a Derrick Henry type back, and that's
yeah,
why I was, saying Audric Estime because he has that ability to
yeah,
be that type of back. And I haven't looked at really the draft board or anything like that. It's just from what I've watched, and I don't watch college football often, but from what I have watched, he's been a workhorse. So that's
yeah.
someone to keep an eye on.
Yeah, going back, I love the when we had Nature and Means, the Super Bowl team in '95. Stan Humphries and big old Means, who huge guy, just truck over people. I love that, and it would be great to have someone again like that. Yeah,
Even like Mike Tolbert,
yeah,
he
Mike Colbert, yeah,
was like a bowling ball in the red zone. He
yeah,
just forced his way through.
yeah.
So yeah, someone like that is what we need, I think. But I mean, it was kind of surprising that we didn't make any moves in the deadline. You would have thought either you'd sell or buy here, but at the same time, you think of it. I mean, you're like right in the middle. You're not gonna tank,
Mm,
but at the same time, you're not guaranteed a playoff spot either. So it was weird at this deadline, I guess. We were talking about possibly trading for Hunter Henry, the tight end from Minnesota, I believe his name is Oliver. Um, none of that happened. So I'm glad we cut Trey McKitty because I think it was, past time that we did that. But we do need a tight end, I think, because Everett's out. Parham can't do it on his own. And we've seen that when Parham has a higher workload, he tends to get injured. So we need a tight end, especially if Everett's going to be out for a longer time. I just don't know now with the trade deadline passed who that's going to be. But
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of you know, you kind of expect that from Telesco.
yeah,
Not a big trade guy, especially at the deadline. Which we want to see. We want to see this team all in, as they say on
yeah,
their show. We want to see them make trades and go for it. But Parham did have a good game this last
hmm
game. He did come through, but like you said, it's always an injury concern when he's out
yeah.
there. Hopefully, he can stay healthy and keep making those big catches because we definitely need that, especially without Mike Williams. He's our big red zone target right there. Um, yeah, and hopefully we get Jaylen Guyton back. He would be a big boost. He's been practicing,
hmm
so love to see him out there this week. Yeah,
I don't know if he'll play this week, but I think he'll come back against the Lions. I don't know if they'd want to throw him against a defense like the Jets, first game back on the road. They'd maybe want to bring him back at home against the, less of a defense type. I mean, the Lions aren't that bad defensively. They actually they had a couple sacks on Garoppolo on Monday, but compared to the Jets, they're not better than the Jets defensively.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, you look at the next three games that the Chargers have; these are winnable games, and I believe the third one is in Green Bay. Winnable games. If the Chiefs lose against the Dolphins and Eagles, and the Chargers don't win both of these next two games, then there's nobody to blame but the team. The Chiefs are literally gifting us these losses if they get these next two losses. So Chargers have to just focus on winning. That's all.
yeah. The Detroit game will be tough.
Cool.
Yeah, because
Cool.
they're a complete football team.
Mhm.
Powerful offense. They have weapons. They can score. Good defense. Not great like the Jets, but good enough.
I mean, you have Anzalone, right, who is going to be like that Mason Crosby type of burden on Herbert and that offensive line. That's what I'm scared of the most. But then you have also Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown coming back to LA after going to USC, so that's kind of like the homecoming for him. So he's going to want to show out. That defense needs to really focus on St. Brown.
Yeah, besides the fact that Palmer was picked before St. Brown, and St.
That's
Brown famously memorized all the
right,
plays,
right,
all the
right.
receivers who were picked before him. Yeah, seemingly recites it every game to get him pumped up. So
Yeah,
he's going to come out and try to show
yeah.
he's a better player than Palmer. And
Man, I mean, I don't have a problem with Joshua Palmer. I think he's going to be a great talent. But damn, if we had gotten Amon Ra with Keenan and Mike, that would have been crazy.
yeah,
That would have been crazy. I mean, Palmer's good. It's just he has to work on securing the ball better. Stop with the drop passes.
yeah,
But Amon Ra just on another level. And it could be because of Detroit, system that he's in. I don't know what the case might be, or he's just better. Period. But yeah, I mean, we've drafted well. It's just we've also missed a lot of good players, and that could be said for all the teams.
yeah,
But overall, we've drafted well. It's just we could have drafted better, but this is the best we could ask for, honestly.
yeah. Yeah, the misses can be glaring sometimes, but yeah, we have our own talented roster, and yeah, and if Mike Williams didn't go down, then you're looking at maybe the top offense in the league, possibly, so yeah, you
Yeah,
can't.
no, truly, I believe if Mike Williams hadn't gone down, we would have been the best offense, and we wouldn't be right now 3-4. I think we'd have a much better record. You look at the Chiefs game, we put up 17 points. Mike Williams is a Chiefs killer. We've said that before. He would have made a huge difference. I mean, you look at the Cowboys game, right? He would have made a difference there. It was a one possession game. So there were a lot of games where we missed Mike, and hopefully they extend him next year. Because I think he has an option or I think there's a team option that they could let him go. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But
Yeah, I'd love for him to be back. It's going to be tricky because we have so many big contracts next season. We're going to have to make some tough choices and cut guys like Bosa, Mack, maybe Mike Williams. Yeah, it won't be easy. It won't be easy.
yeah, I think the one concern with Mike is the health. He's
Yeah,
always injured, kind of. But when he's on the field, he's such a big help to Herbert and just such a big presence for that offense that it's hard to kind of just let him go. But I mean, if they're gonna let him go, they need to find a replacement. Like Quentin Johnston, he's going to develop. He's gonna be good. I'm convinced now after seeing him play against the Bears. And I said, if he doesn't improve, if we're in week 18 and we're talking about the way same way he's playing that he did in week 1, then that's a problem. but that's already gone, right? He played very well week 8. So I think this is the big test for Johnston week 9. And if he produces week 9, then you'd say, okay, maybe Mike could be cut, or we bring him back, and pay him less
Yeah.
because of that injury.
Mhm.
But I would love to have Mike Williams back. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is, are we going to go with 4 basically starting wide receivers, right, with Palmer included? Or are we going to just go with 3? That's, I think, the big question. Plus, you have Darius Davis, which, I think if given the opportunity, he's going to be big too.
Yeah. And Guyton.
And
Guyton.
Guyton. And Guyton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very crowded wide receiver room, which is a good
Right.
problem to have, especially after last year when it was basically just Palmer for for
Yeah.
a long time. Um,
I think Guyton fits perfectly with Herbert because he has that deep ball threat, and he's very quick.
yeah,
And that's what this team needs. But you know, I think Palmer more than anybody else. I don't know. It might be weird, but I feel like his job is on the line because Johnson is new. You're going to give Johnson time. He's your first round pick, and then Guyton. He's been injured, so we don't know what Guyton's going to do. But he's meshed well with Herbert. And then Keenan Allen, of course, he's untouchable. He's being doubled now, but once these wide receivers get it going, he's going to be that wide receiver one that we've seen, the first 3 weeks of the season.
yeah,
So Palmer is kind of in this weird situation where it's like if he doesn't perform and if he keeps dropping passes, he might be the one out because you can't have, let's say, 5 or 6 wide receivers that are starter material on the same team, right? You just can't afford it.
yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But then again, if you look at it, and Palmer, let's say, has a big rest of the season, then what? So
yeah,
yeah, it's gonna be an interesting situation. But
yeah, yeah, definitely. And Palmer did have a big game against the Chiefs.
yeah,
Yeah, he had something like 130 yards, something crazy
yeah,
like that.
and credit where credit's due. He played through that injury. Week 8, he didn't have to, but he did. So credit where credit's due. I mean, I'm a Palmer fan. It's just
Yeah,
I don't know if Chargers will decide to keep him with a first round pick of yours, and then Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. What's going to happen there? So that's why he might be the odd man out. But
yeah, yeah. If it was down to me, and if Mike Williams is healthy, I'm keeping Mike Williams because we we know what he can do. Palmer's kind of
yeah,
up and down, uh, but the thing with Mike Williams is, does he stay healthy?
right,
So
right,
it's either way. We'll just have to see how the rest of the season goes. I think that's going to be for a lot of these guys, Bosa, Mac.
yeah.
How are they going to do the rest of the season? Up and down. Can you stay consistent, and can you help us to the playoffs? And then what do you do in the playoffs? Uh, that's going to determine their next contracts, really.
Oh, absolutely. If we make the playoffs and Bosa screws up, he's gone.
Yeah,
I like Bosa. I always have. It's just like we were talking about a couple weeks ago. He just doesn't seem like he cares anymore. Um, And it's interesting, this Chase Young trade to the Niners just, makes our prediction, basically reality at this point if they all stay healthy on the 49ers. Chase Young to the Niners, that's huge.
yeah,
And I don't think I've ever seen a more talented defense than that.
yeah,
But now you look at Bosa and you say, okay, I don't think he'll go and team up with his brother because, you got Young now
yeah.
and that Ohio State connection. Um, I don't know. I don't know if they should extend Bosa regardless, though. It all depends on these next, couple games, 9 games that we have left, I think,
Mhm.
and the playoffs. If he performs the way he did against the Jaguars, then he's gone. I don't think they keep him. But
Yeah, we do have to mention he has been injured.
yeah,
He's been playing through injuries. He sat out a game or two, and hopefully now he's healthy. He looked better this last game. He
He
did.
did.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
I believe it was Bosa and Mac on the same side when he got the sack. And it's like, dude, just do that every time. No one's gonna stop that. Put Tooley on one, Mac on the other, Bosa somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah.
And just go.
Yeah.
No one's gonna stop that.
Yeah.
Unless you're the Niners, let's say, with that offensive line. But it it works. So I think they need to do that more, and I want to see that more against the Jets. Because again, like we were saying last week, these next two games, which was the Bears and the Jets, are key. You lose against the Jets, we're back to where we were last week, where it's
Yeah.
kind of you're dead in the water.
Yeah.
Especially because the Broncos won, right? The Broncos are 3-5. I believe the Raiders are 3-5,
Yeah.
Chargers 3-4, and the Chiefs 6-2.
Mhm.
So you have the Chiefs lose all of a sudden 6-3, and you go 4-4. That's a huge difference than Chiefs being 7-2 and you being 3-5.
Yeah.
So again, going back to what we said last week, if they can't win against the Jets, chances of them making the playoffs is slim.
Yeah.
Chances of them winning the division is even slimmer. And I think that's the bigger thing for me is them winning the division. And here's why. If we travel to Buffalo, right? If we travel to Cincinnati, and we'll see that matchup Sunday night, and it could dictate who has the edge in the standings.
Yeah.
If we go to Kansas City, right? Those are all hostile crowds, not just hostile crowds, but it's cold, snowy, and you're from California. You're not used to that kind of weather if you're the Chargers.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough. Last year we had the Jacksonville Jaguars, no snow, and we still lost.
Yeah.
So I don't want a road game, and that's why I was kind of talking about possibly tanking for generational talents like Marvin Harrison Jr. Because if we're not going to get home field advantage, then you're kind of in the middle of the pack again, and you can't break free from that. So that's why it's very important to win this next game, and just win each week. Take it week by week and win as many as you can right now. Because
Yeah.
if you even lose one, and the Chiefs win out, let's just say, right, it's not going to happen. But let's say they win out, you're done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I agree. Home field advantage is huge. Because all these teams are really good. I mean, you see the Bengals coming together after that early Burrow injury. Now he's
yeah,
looking a lot better now, and now their passing attack is really getting going. And Buffalo's always dangerous. So yeah, you're playing a team that's very talented, and in a cold weather condition like that, it's yeah, it's all stacked up against you. Then the only the only thing you say there is, Herbert, go win it for us. You gotta rely on Herbert with his magic, and hope he comes through.
yeah,
Like that crazy performance he had against the Raiders.
right,
We
right.
should have won, but yeah.
If it wasn't for that finger injury, I'd say he's going to do it.
Mm.
But the recovery time is 6 to 8 weeks. Possibly he'll be fully healthy. I don't know how if he's playing on it constantly, but he might be fully healthy by then.
It, it
But
it could heal, but like my finger,
Mhm.
it'll still be crooked. I
Oh
mean,
wow,
yeah, and then it always changes. Like for basketball, it's changed my shot. I can feel my shot going more to the left because of my curved finger. Yeah,
that's
so
crazy.
yeah,
And
so
it's funny how basketball players don't really have fractured fingers often.
yeah,
And when I
yeah,
used to play, it always like something used to the ball used to hit the tip of my finger and just gets bent, and it's the worst pain at that moment. But then it gets fixed like in a couple of weeks. But it was the worst pain at that moment, and yeah, it's just weird how basketball players don't get that injury, but football players do.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah, for me, I had the ball. I was shooting. The guy slapped at the ball, and it hit my finger against the ball, and it broke that way.
oh
And
wow,
yeah, and then yeah, and I
was it
tried
at the
playing.
gym or?
What?
Was it at like LA Fitness or something like that?
No, I was playing in a rec league. I used to
Oh, okay.
yeah, rec leagues, and yeah, I played the rest of the game. I tried to shoot. I could not shoot at all. Like it was an air ball.
Wow.
Like yeah, and then at work I would try to type. I'd forget about it, and and searing pain when I
Yeah,
just tried to put my finger. Yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
I know what Herbert's dealing with. It's not fun. Yeah,
Yeah. I've played rec, I played LA Fitness, and it's like LA Fitness, they just first of all, some of them don't know how to play at all, but
yeah,
like they just foul the crap out of you and no call, none of that. So it's like there's no rules basically when you play at LA
yeah.
Fitness. But
Yeah, there was refs and there was no call when I when I got hacked and like the whole gym is like what you could hear it like yeah yeah always the refs man
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. If he's fully healthy or partially like better than he is now, right? Then you have a fighting chance. But still, I prefer home field advantage. It's not going to be easy again. You need the Chiefs to lose. You need a lot of stuff to line up now because of that loss against the Chiefs. But I think most importantly, week by week, and win these divisional games. Beat the Raiders twice, or yeah, they beat them week 4. Beat them twice. Beat the Broncos twice. It's going to be tough in Denver, no matter what, and they might not even have Russell Wilson at that time because they'll, shut him down for the season. Who knows what's going to happen with the Broncos? But I don't think that they're that great of a team still. I know that they beat the Chiefs, but they're not that great. And they're 3-5. They might be, 3-8 in a couple weeks and possibly shut down starters. So they got to fight their way through in Denver, and then they play the Chiefs week 18, and that game I think is going to dictate the division. But I'm hoping it doesn't reach to that point. I hope that the Chiefs go on a losing streak somehow, and we go on a winning streak and lock the division before that game, because I don't want to rely on one game to win the division.
yeah
Um,
but you know the NFL would love that if it came down to one game
right,
yeah
right.
yeah
Of course. And, it's funny because if the Jets, let's say, get Aaron Rodgers back, I mean, I don't know. Like, I had the Jets going pretty far. I think I had them going to the conference championship, had Rodgers been healthy. So if he comes back, I don't know. That revives Garrett Wilson. It revives Alan Lazard, all these guys.
yeah
So it'll be interesting if Rodgers comes back. And if the Jets, let's say, meet the Bengals in the playoffs, I have no doubt that the Jets will win. Truly, I don't. If Rodgers is back, but yeah. I mean, this is a big game because they're 4-3. You can tie now with the Jets, and that'll be huge.
yeah
Um,
yeah and then we would have the tiebreaker if
right,
we got the win
right.
yeah
And then
yeah
I think the
yeah and it
Bengals.
goes oh
Mhm.
sorry
Go ahead.
it goes the other way if we lose I mean
Right.
yeah yeah
That's why it's
then
such an
it's
important game.
yeah it's being like 2 games back of them essentially because they'll have the
Yeah.
tiebreaker yeah
Yeah. No, it's a very important game Monday. I mean, Monday I think is make or break, truly. Regardless of what happens with the Chiefs, you got to win. Because even if the Chiefs lose, they're at 3 losses, you're at 5. So again, you're still 2 games back.
yeah
You got to win. You know, the Bengals Bills, I think I'm not sure if they have the same record or if the Bengals are 4-3, Bills are 5-2, something like that. So that's going to be a big game too,
yeah
for both teams. And as a Chargers fan, you I guess want the Bengals to win for both of them to be 5-3. Um, yeah, I think you'd want the Bengals to win because then you'll be 4-4, hopefully, right, and the higher chance of going up in the standings come playoff time. But I think as close to first seed, obviously, as you can get for the Chargers is going to be key. But again, Josh Allen, he could have a completely off night, and we've seen that this season. We've seen that previous seasons where he just shuts down, and I don't know what happens to him. Truly, he's a remarkable talent,
yeah
but some nights he's just not there. Um, and Herbert, I haven't seen that from. Maybe against the Chiefs this last time, and that was like the only time I've seen that from him. So I would put my money on Herbert over Allen. It's just I'd be more confident if they're at SoFi. And we know how crazy those fans get in Buffalo. I'm sure you'll see a lot of those fans at SoFi, but at least the guys will be comfortable being on their own field and, their own locker room, their own beds, right? All that into consideration in the playoffs. So we just have to hope for the best.
Yeah, and then the Bills just signed Leonard Fournette, so could that be a boost to their ground game? We'll see.
I,
We'll
I don't
see
know
how
if that
much they trust. I
makes
don't know.
I don't know if that makes a difference because they had Damian Harris. I don't know if he's injured, but they had Harris and they had Latavius Murray, and I think Murray's that guy already. He's the red zone guy. So putting Leonard Fournette there, yeah, like from the 1 yard line, you can jump in. Okay, that's not gonna make that big of a difference, I don't think. And what shape is Fournette in, right? That there's that question too. So I don't know if that was a good signing. They have a lot of running backs on that team. James Cook, right?
Yeah, Cook.
We forgot about James Cook. I don't know if Damian Harris is injured, but they have James
He
Cook,
is. I
Davis
think he is.
Murray. He is. So I don't know if that Fournette signing is going to matter much because Cook's going to be on the field for the majority of the time, and then Murray's going to come in for the red zone touches. So it doesn't make much sense unless it's like a safety net to have Fournette. Maybe that's what it is for the Bills, but it could be a safety net because there aren't many running backs available right now. So if Harris is injured, they might have just brought Fournette for safety.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting time, and it seems like we keep saying it. We just got to get wins.
Yeah.
And it was nice to have a dominating one.
Hmm.
Finally, it seems like it's been so long since we've seen that, especially at SoFi. You know, uh,
Yeah.
and the crowd was hyped. You could feel it in the air. Those night games are fun.
Yeah, I've been to one. I think it was the Chiefs Chargers when Kelsey just broke free in that overtime win.
I was there too. Yeah,
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 horrible game to be at,
yeah,
but what
yeah.
was the crowd like? Like, was it more Chargers fans this time? Was it 50-50, more Bears fans?
I'd say it was closer to 50-50.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's improvement.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It was improved. Yeah, and yeah, good energy until there was a strange moment near the end of the game. They played the Friends theme song, but it wasn't as a tribute to Matthew Perry. They didn't put his picture up. It was social media moments. They were showing fan pictures, and
that's
and, and you could hear every people like talking, go like, "What's going on?" Like,
yeah,
yeah,
that's really strange.
yeah, it was kind of like a lack of awareness for whoever's in
Yeah.
charge of that.
The only thing I could think of is maybe they had a pre-planned, but still, I
But
mean, you can
still,
adjust that,
yeah, you can change that. Yeah, you would
Yeah,
think. Yeah,
that
it's
was
like
that's strange.
yeah, yeah. So the crowd was like audibly confused, and it kind of deflated the stadium. Like,
Um,
yeah, but yeah, the game was already over by that point. Yeah,
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 yeah. I mean, I think the biggest concern, besides Brees Hall for the Jets game, is to see what this team does in the second half. I'm just tired of them going up in the first, right, and then just going all out in the first half, and we're like, oh yes, we're gonna win, and then second half they just deflate,
yeah,
and it's like, okay, what happened to this team? Is this the same team that we're watching, right? So
yeah,
I think that's the key. Just stay consistent. Play the second half like you did the first half. I don't know what happens to this team in the second half, but hopefully they just step up and take care of business and close it out against the Jets.
A- and it's been an issue under Lombardi and now under Kellen Moore too. So
Yeah,
yeah, you got to wonder where is it coming from? Is it eh,
I I don't want to guess here,
yeah,
but if I had to, I would say the offensive line.
yeah,
Maybe they get tired. I don't know what it is, but it seems like, as we were saying earlier in the year, these defenses start blitzing in the fourth, especially,
yeah,
and then offensive line just can't hold their ground. And of course, we're missing Corey Linsley. Um, Will Clapp's done a decent job, Obviously, he's not Corey Linsley like, but he's done a decent job. That right side again, Trey Pipkins needs to do better. We're gonna see a lot of Jets probably defenders rushing him. Um, so he needs to do better. He did well against the Bears. That's the first time he's done well, I think, this season. So I just hope that we see that again from him. But I think that's what happens in the second half is that the offensive line just shuts down.
Yeah, and probably we probably need a better blocking tight end too. I mean,
Yeah,
McKitty wasn't doing it.
we
So
don't have any tight ends right now. That's why I'm like, why didn't we trade for one?
yeah,
I'm not even sure who's available. But like Zach Ertz, for example, he went on IR, but I don't think he's shut down for the season. Just any tight end, right? Because we don't have any. It's just Parham right now with Everett out.
yeah,
So,
and I think we cut our fullback Xander Horgoff
oh, they
a while.
did.
I thought they did.
Oh wow, he was decent.
He was, and he
Yeah,
could block. He was a red zone threat,
yeah.
and we haven't seen him for a while. I don't know if he's on the practice squad but we
I'm not
haven't
sure.
seen him. Uh,
Let me check.
Yeah,
But that would be weird if they let him go.
I thought they did earlier in the year, if I'm
I'm,
not
I
mistaken.
must have missed it because I don't remember that. But
Okay,
I mean, it could be that I missed it.
yeah,
Um,
because I haven't seen him for a while, and
yeah, he was
yeah,
cut 24 days ago.
yeah,
Oh, he okay. Hold on. He went to the Steelers
okay,
2 months ago, and then was cut 24 days ago. So yeah, 2 months ago they let Horvath go. I might have seen it and just kind of didn't really pay attention to it.
yeah.
But wow, I'm surprised. He was good.
He was good. He was good. Yeah, just a big body that,
Yeah,
yeah, that
that we need.
we need.
This
We
team
need.
needs.
Yeah,
You look at Dotson, he's not playing, and
yeah,
Spiller's not that big body.
yeah,
Joshua Kelly, you don't know what you're gonna get from him.
yeah,
So you need that big body, and that's why I'm like, okay, in the draft, that's the time to get him. And I don't know if Estimate will declare for the draft. I think he's a senior, so he has to.
I guessed.
If I'm not mistaken, he's a senior.
Okay.
Um, that's the one guy I think they should target. I don't know where he'll go again. I haven't looked at the mock or anything. It's too early for that. But
Yeah,
I think he's one guy to look at because they do need a running back like that. So
yeah,
hopefully they get him soon.
yeah. But and then if we do, will we utilize him correctly? Will will he be
Right.
another Spiller or
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know what is going on with Spiller.
yeah,
Either we have too many running backs and don't know how to use them. Like, Kelly's the RB2.
yeah,
But Spiller did get some run, I think, Sunday. The thing is, I think when Spiller's on the field, they want him to make the most out of that performance, and he's not being able to. Like if he breaks out for a 50-yard run, for example,
yeah,
then he'll see more time, I think, on the field. I think that's what the coaching staff is looking for, and they're just not getting. So they don't have the confidence to put him in. But like you said, preseason, he was going crazy, and he needs to be given that opportunity to go crazy. So I don't know.
yeah. And I think it's tough with that line right now because
Yeah,
even Eckler on the runs isn't
yeah.
breaking out. He needs to get a pass to get in the open field. Uh, so
I think the offensive line has always been not always, but in recent memory has been a problem for this team. The thing with Philip Rivers that I loved so much was that he got the ball off so quickly.
yeah,
It's kind of like Tua, how he
yeah,
gets that ball off so quickly. He got it off so quickly, and yes, they were short throws, most of them, but it works. It was
yeah,
effective. So if that's what Herbert has to do, do it. You don't have to always go deep. Go short. I like what they did against the Bears, the flea flicker that didn't work, but that's a good idea.
yeah,
Mix it up, and they mixed it up a lot in the beginning against the Bears. So they should do that. And if that blitz comes, Herbert needs to get that ball off. And I think Philip Rivers is under your fingertips. I would assume give him a call and get pointers.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I saw a video of Matt Money Smith saying Herbert's regressed since his rookie year in his progressions. That yeah, he takes longer time. He tries to he just tries to make the perfect read, and he's not just letting it go like he did as a rookie.
yeah,
But maybe there's a little something to that.
it could
Maybe
be true. It could be true. Maybe he does want it too perfectly and just not gonna happen.
yeah,
It could be true. Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
yeah. Yeah, and then how do you break out of that? When you've been under Lombardi for a couple years and you've got that in your system, how, how it seems like it would take some time to change that if he even realizes it himself.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, we got Kellen Moore for a reason, man.
Yeah,
He's got to adjust. In the beginning, first couple of weeks, Herbert was going deep, and to Keenan Allen especially,
yeah,
and it could be because Mike Williams was there. But at the same time, when Quentin Johnston was in the game, and I was speaking about this with Sean Merriman when he was on the show, when Quentin Johnston was in, it seemed like they were always going to Keenan Allen deep. And that completely stopped once Mike Will got out.
hmm,
So they got to go back to that.
yeah,
It was working. Yes, he's overthrown Keenan Allen a couple times, and it could be that finger, right? It's not always going to happen that he's going to overthrow Keenan Allen,
yeah,
but they got to go back to that. They got to go back to playing aggressively. We were speaking about this earlier in the season. Stop playing so conservatively, and I think we saw them play more aggressively week 8 against the Bears.
yeah.
So it's they got to just continue that against the Jets.
Yeah, and whenever we get Guyton back, that's going to open things up more because he's that
Yeah,
deep threat. But yeah, that should allow Keenan to get open more.
I think what's going to happen is Guyton's going to come in. This is going to be his first game back, and hopefully against the Lions, not the Jets, because easier defense and all. He's going to come back first game. Herbert's going to throw a deep bomb, 50, 60-yard touchdown, and then defense are going to be like, "What the hell happened?" And they're just going to start focusing on Guyton, and
Yeah,
it's going to open up more for Keenan Allen. But I think Guyton's return is going to be huge for this team. Hopefully, he comes back soon because we need him. If we win Monday, we're back.
yeah.
And I don't mean we're back and we can lose again. I just mean we're back in contention. We got to still win, and especially against the Lions, because that's, I think, our biggest test these next 3 weeks.
Yeah,
But Jets are tough too.
yeah,
It's just Lions' offense is better, so I give them the edge. But Jets are tough, and then in Green Bay, they haven't looked great, the Packers. So hopefully we don't have Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs going, ballistic on us. But they're a complete team, it seems. Green Bay, like they have Luke Musgrave and Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, etc. They just haven't been winning. I'm not sure what the record is. I haven't paid much attention to them,
mhm,
but doesn't seem like they've been winning. Aaron Jones has been hurt.
right,
He just came back recently, so that should be a win. Bottom line,
yeah,
and I think after that they go or they come back to SoFi and play against the Ravens,
Ravens, yeah,
and that's an important game too. So
yeah,
you have a lot of important games coming up, but first things first, you have to win Monday. If you don't win Monday, forget all this conversation. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. I agree. It's going to be an interesting time. Yeah, but remember to subscribe and smash that like button, and we will be with you guys again.
see you guys.
All right, see you.